Ladies and gentlemen, he survived it. The man, the myth, the legend, Dave Aronberg, father of how many?
3 kids.
Oh, beautiful, baby. He survived Father's Day, and he's here to come and give us his best 5 for the United States National High School Champions League, starting 11.
Hello.
My
goodness.
Yeah, you got to.
We got new sound effects, Wales.
Well,
moving up.
Yeah, but I thought you deserved it. And so there we have it. You know that I know that you know. We got some national sponsors, and 2 of them were about the getting to college. Coolidge and Ziggy Nagel, for God's sake, sorry, Ziggy, college planning. And, the whole thing of to find the right fit for your soccer playing and the college you go to. It really means a lot. It's, you don't need to transfer all over the place. You can find your niche right away, but you got to have the plan before, 11th hour. And that goes with the soccer ball because, when you want a soccer ball, you go get select soccer ball because it's guaranteed to be round. There ain't no square edges on this ball. So that's the official ball of the High School Champions League. And Dave, you are a magnificent board member in the St. Louis High School Champions League. And now you don't suffer fools, so I'm going to be quiet for a while. Go ahead.
Well, let me talk a little bit about those sponsors real quick. Select. I've used many soccer balls. I keep coming back to Select because of how well they keep their air. I mean, that's the number one thing. They are very durable. Love Select. And I think you've had some guests talk about it, but rolling out this national website for the Champions League that Coolidge has helped put together, it is really slick. So we might have to have some online show to kind of reveal all the stuff that we can see on this website now, because it's pretty cool stuff. So thank you to all the sponsors.
Yes, yeah. From your lips to God's ears. And if you're not, when you come back from your beautiful vacation with the family and so forth, maybe you want to throw that up.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm still learning on the go, but it is really, really cool. So,
all right,
yeah, it's going to be really cool. So, all right, starting 11. So I'm going to start the starting 11 with the best 11. So I run this thing called the best 11 here in St. Louis. Basically, all the St. Louis high school coaches nominate players, and then all the St. Louis high school coaches vote on the players. We do this every week, but this past week we had basically our all Metro team. So this was who were the best 11 for the entire season. So I looked at the results here. There's some names that you're going to recognize, Wales. The player of the year, the athlete that had the most votes overall, should not be a surprise. That went to Maddie DiMaria of Coriezu. Then the highest votes for each position, we kind of gave a special shout out to. So goalie of the year was Lily Selvey. She goes to Fort Zumwalt North. Defender of the year was Harper Mayers, who goes to St. Joseph's Academy. Midfielder of the year was Kate Hardy, who goes to Parkway West. And forward of the year was Maggie Drozda. She goes to St. Joseph's Academy. Little interesting side note, all 5 of those players, Wales, what do they have in common? They all played in the Champions League, all 5. So
I know 3 of the 5 were Wales certified.
Oh, there you go. Then I looked. So we did a first team, a second team, and a third team. Obviously, 11 on each team since it's the best 11. So, and this is going to tie into my second point, actually. On the first team, this should not be surprising. 9 out of the 11 players participated in the Champions League. Okay. On the second team and the third team, each 5 out of the 11 Champions League players, 5 out of the 11 Champions League players for both the second team and the third team. Okay, so overall, 33 players recognized in the best 11, 19 out of the 33, 57% played in the Champions League. So this kind of got me thinking. And, Wales, the World Cup is going on still. Love it.
Yes.
Great. Must-see TV. 57% of these players that are being recognized, these outstanding players, are, being showcased in the Champions League. But that also means 43% we're not seeing in the Champions League. And these are fantastic players. And so I want to make a quick case, and these are things I'm going to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit for the listeners. These are things that are being discussed at the board level at the Champions League, because one thing about the Champions League is it is always evolving, and we're always trying to look for new ideas to keep it fresh and innovative. One idea that has been thrown around is to expand the Champions League, and there's 2 camps here. And I want to kind of bring in the World Cup to give a little perspective. So there's the camp that we want to keep it very selective, keep it at 16 teams, hard to make it in. All right. And that there's definitely merit to that camp. There's another camp to let's make the tent bigger. Let's get more teams involved so that we can, have more kids that can get part of that spotlight. Okay. Now, I will be very honest, Wales. When this World Cup that we are experiencing right now, when they decided to expand it to 48 teams, I was a naysayer. And I'm going to admit right here on Wales Certified, I think I was wrong. Because if you're looking at the World Cup right now, the expansion, I think, has been like a breath of fresh air. We are seeing teams right now on the World Cup stage that we would have never seen if it had stayed at 32. All right, so Cape Verde, who just tied Spain, Uruguay. You don't think they deserve on the world stage? And if they haven't expanded to 48 teams, we're probably not seeing Cape Verde. Other teams, Curacao, although Germany did smash them, they got a point in their last game. So they deserve it. DR Congo also got a point in their first game. Scotland, who hasn't been here in a long time. They probably don't get into the World Cup except for the expansion. New Zealand probably doesn't get in except for the expansion. So what you're seeing is, because of the parity worldwide, a lot of these teams that might not have gotten a shot with 32 are getting their shot, and they're getting their time to shine. In St. Louis, and I can only speak to St. Louis. I know the Champions League works in other places. But in St. Louis, we have tons of teams that can, on any given night, win games against other great teams. And so I think for us to go from 16 to 24, I think would actually be a really, really good thing. And I'm going to tell you one thing here, Wales. We have an obvious place to expand, which is right across the river, that we have not tapped into yet. The Metro East, which has great teams also. Father and Givney on the east side just won state for Illinois. Edwardsville just got second in their class in state. There's no one that would say these teams can't compete with the Missouri side of St. Louis. And think of the added rivalries right there if we expand the tent and allow some of these teams to compete in the Champions League. Logistically, it would work out. You would have eight pools of 3. So instead of, right now we have 4 pools of 4, and you're playing 3 group games, you would actually only have to play 2 pool play games, which, added bonus, makes scheduling actually easier. Because when you go to an AD and you're like, well, we only really need to schedule 2 games, ADs would be even more excited about that. There are sometimes schools right now that actually turn down the Champions League because of the scheduling conflict. So going to 2 games of pool play, I think, would actually be more enticing to a lot of schools. So I think there's a lot of things that make the expansion something that we should really look at. And it's something that's being talked about at the board for the Champions League as we speak. You have any words on that, Wales?
No, baby, no. I'm silent majority. Oh, I am silent. I'm just silent.
All right. Um,
But good
okay.
points, though.
Yeah. So I think going off this too, another thing that's being talked about on the Champions League board. So again, pulling back the curtain a little bit. One of the really cool things about the Champions League is the extra pageantry that goes into these games. You know, we don't want these to just be regular season games. These should be special and different. And a cool thing that's happening right now, some work being done behind the scenes, is really trying to figure out a way to get some of these pool play games at a central location. So imagine you're playing your third game of pool play where it's games going on simultaneously at a complex where basically you could, find a spot and watch a couple different games that are going on at the same time. So this would kind of be like a celebration of high school sports rather than, having to travel to one high school for one game and, maybe there's another good game, but that's 10 miles away. So you're not going to be able to see both. So having these games at a central location, I think would really add to the experience. And one of the things that we really have going for us at the high school level is the experience, the atmosphere. So I think we could supercharge this by finding a location to have all these teams play it during pool play. So that is an effort that's going on at the Champions League level. And then lastly, there's a group in Florida. I want to say it's Polk County, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they have now, besides the Champions League, they have also added a Europa League. So you have your top 16 or 24, and because I know one of those Florida locations actually has gone to 24, like I've been advocating here too. But after that top 16 or 24, they have the next 16 that then qualify for the Europa. So again, trying to increase the tent of teams that will compete at the level that they're at, I think is really what the Champions League should be striving for. And those teams that are maybe they qualify for the Europa one year and they get a taste of it and maybe they progress up to the Champions League the next year, just like we see in Europe with a lot of clubs. I think this would be a great way to increase eyeballs and increase the competitiveness at the high school level. So these are all things that I want listeners to know, like, this is what we are looking towards. This is what we are talking about. The Champions League is always evolving. It's flexible, and we're trying our best to make this the best event for everyone that's playing high school soccer.
And you do a great job, Dave. No bull about that. Hey, man, I got 2 points. That public school stadium when I was a young boy, I got, you would get butterflies going by the place. And to play there, only the best played there, the
Right.
championship games. And so, man, to have something like that, holy cow, goosebumps, goosebumps. And then from your lips to God's ears about the Europa League. I mean, so under full disclosure, I made a couple phone calls, and it had good response, but then I dropped the ball. I couldn't get. But if anybody, including yourself, to get this rolling, man, I mean, you could count on the whale, doing something about something. But man, just a magnificent ideal.
Well, and I'll take my team. This year, our girls' team didn't qualify for the Champions League. We were just on the outside. I think we were maybe 3 schools away from qualifying. But if we had a Europa League, we would gladly compete against teams that are at our level. So, I mean, I wouldn't look at that as some sort of negative. That would be a great thing for us to compete at whatever level we're at that year. So,
Oh,
yeah,
uh,
I just think there's a lot of teams that would really appreciate that opportunity.
oh yeah, and I'm on your side about this. This is not a given. This is not, uh, this is saying, hey, there was. I mean, it's up there, but you qualify, and you're going to play against teams that want to lift the Europa League type of trophy. It doesn't take a back seat to nobody, no way, no how.
Right. I mean, again, however we can tap into the competitive nature of high school, because that is our ace in the hole.
Yeah,
That's what we can really lean on in high school. So, I think all these ideas, they have some merit, and obviously there's some logistics to kind of work through. But I want listeners to know that these are things that are being discussed.
yeah,
The Champions League is not static.
right. And you were channeling Ruth Harker. We talked about this, 18 months ago, and she she said, "Can you help me with?" I said, "Can you help me, Ruth?" So we tried, but we're gonna get it eventually. It was a way to go, and
The
this
ball keeps moving.
that's right. And this place, you gotta have a place, man. You know, and
Right.
yeah. So all the people that are around and stuff, talk amongst yourselves, and reach out to Dave Aronberg, and we'll get this thing rolling.
Yeah, and I really think I just have visions of this celebration of high school soccer. I mean, imagine if you have fan bases from all these high schools descending on one location. Like how cool that could be. And again, as we watch the World Cup, like I just think of all these things that happens at World Cup games that could be happening at high school games.
Yeah,
So
I just got goosebumps. Thank you, man. What a feel. All right then.
there you go.
Well, you did it. It was a record time, and well, you're a smooth debonair type of guy. And for people that don't know, Dave is the head coach of the soccer program at Ladue High School and the home of the Rams. And I mean, they're a top notch outfit. And so the best to the best for the best, along with the best. We're going to have to wrap it up. You got final thoughts?
Well, I'm going to be missing the next couple weeks, so I got a little vacation here planned. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot to talk about after that. Some World Cup stuff going on, and we'll talk again in about 3 weeks here.
All right, then. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been session 36 of the United States High School Champions League starting 11 with Dave Aronberg and Kevin Whalen.
All right, thanks, Wales.
All right.